All right, welcome back. South Africans continue to emphasize the importance of protection of children, more so during Child Protection Week, which is at a time when children's safety and protection comes under threat. In recent times, the protection of children was thrust into the spotlight after the alleged rape and murder of a 3-year-old Courtney Peterson in Elsie's River. But to unpack the challenges and the social ills hindering the development and the safety of children, we joined by Dumisile Nala. She is the CEO at Childline South Africa, and she joins us from our studios in Durban. Sis Dumisile, good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, and good morning to the viewers. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much indeed. Now, let us just start here first. If we were to reflect on the recent reports, the spate of child killings, rape, kidnappings and so on, do you really think that children have a reason to celebrate Child Protection Week this year?
Well, for us as Childline, it's really difficult because, as you are saying, we hear every day stories of children kidnapped, brutally murdered, raped. So it's really a very clear indication that our children do not have a cause to celebrate. And I think for us as adults and carers in their lives, we also do not have a cause to celebrate. In actual fact, we should be asking ourselves, what are we doing to keep them safe?
Yeah, and of course that's your appeal as Childline, that Child Protection Week this year should not just target children between the ages of 6 months and 3 years, but it should be everyone's position this year to see what they can do. You were mentioning politicians to civilians on themselves.
Yes, it is our view as Childline that really we cannot put the responsibility of care and protection entirely on children, because a 3-year-old child, a 6-month-old baby, is reliant on an adult to keep them safe. Even children who are older than that, they should be enjoying their childhood, having fun, rather than thinking about, am I safe in this space? Should I be doing something else to keep myself safe? So as an organization, we are saying as adults in children's lives, we need to be thinking about what are we doing in our own space to keep children safe.
I want us to take a look at this graphic, Sis Dumisile, because according to the primary Childline crisis line call categories of 2016 to 2017, 32% of calls are about services. Talk to us about those services. What are they?
So we get calls from children, young people and adults, and what we find is people will phone us wanting to know, if I need to see a social worker, where do I go? What services are available to me if I'm in need of care and protection? So it's mainly social welfare related services. Where do I go to my nearest police station? And it's also about services that Childline as an organization is offering. So it's people who are probably one way or the other are aware that they need support, and they want to know where should they be going to get that support. So it could be a young person themselves or a person who is concerned about a child in their environment.
And according to 2015 figures from Stats SA, they suggest that there were about 90,000 children in 50,000 child-headed households nationally. Talk to us about how big the problem of child-headed households is here in South Africa, more so in terms of the development of children.
Well, we see that the issues of child-headed household, we really probably need to do more research in terms of the exact figures and what is happening to those children. But when you look at the social circumstances and the challenges that those children face, you have a young person who has taken on the responsibility to look after their siblings. And of course, normally a young person should be looked after themselves. So of course, in our country, there are many factors that has resulted into that. So as a country and as civil society and government, we then need to look at how do we support and put in measures to make sure that those young people who are looking after siblings are taking care of themselves, are protected, and are given enough knowledge and skills to carry out the task that is in front of them.
Yeah.
But of course, the priority would be, what do we need to do to prevent child-headed or youth-headed households in our country?
Yeah, but what can I do as an individual to better the lives of children around me? What do I need to do? Because you've mentioned that it has to be a collective work.
It is certainly a collective work, and I think we need to look at what can we do to prevent abuse from happening, because that is really the priority. And also, when then something has happened, what is my role, or what can I do in that instance? So if something has happened, every one of us has a responsibility, or even if you suspect that something is going on, you have a responsibility to report and talk to someone about it, because you are doing it for the care and protection of that young person. Yeah. So you can communicate with your social worker. If you feel it's a matter that requires police attention, you do that. Of course, there are organizations like Childline where you can phone anonymously and report your concern about a particular child, so that systems can start kicking in and support that child. But also, from a preventive point of view, we need to look at the environment that we live in. How do we even make sure our own environments are safe and protective of children? If there are no safe areas in your community, what are you doing as an individual to advocate for that? Because we know we need such things to keep children safe. If there are issues around the environment, there are bushes around where children live, it's all those things that we can do and advocate for to make sure our environments are safe. But also, even on a government level, we know there are issues around overcrowding in households. Those are factors that contribute to children observing things that they shouldn't be seeing, but also being prone to being abused in such environments. So it's all those different levels. People who are in businesses, how are you supporting your workers to ensure that their children back home are safe, or they have enough knowledge and skills to protect their children? Can we look at things like ensuring our staff members have access to parenting programs? Because parenting is not an easy thing.
It's not.
And when we talk to children, they talk to us about challenges at home, relationships with parents, and sometimes parents even phone us struggling to raise their children. So those are all the things that we can do in our own space to support families, to support our communities, and doing the right thing in our own space.
Yeah, and the spirit of Ubuntu has to kick in, as the saying goes, that it takes a village to raise a child. But we've also learned, Ms. Dumisile, that Childline has extended its services online. Talk to us about that and how the children and the parents go about getting in touch with Childline.
Yes, certainly. So there are many number of ways that you can get to us at Childline. You can utilize our toll-free helpline, which is 0800 55 555. But we also know, of course, that we engage with young people, and they are on social media and they have access to internet. So we also need to exist there as an organization to provide support to them, and adults as well who have access to those services. So when you go to our website, which is www.childlinesa.org.za, you can then be able to interact with our counselors. There is a click there if you want to chat to us. So you can interact with our counselors, and it's an instant chat. So you are speaking to a counselor as an instant communication, and there you are able to discuss issues you are confronted with and support that you may require.
All right.
I also want to stress that the Childline services, particularly the online and the toll-free number, they are not only referral services, but it is a counseling service. So you can really be able to talk to an experienced and trained counselor who can help you deal with a situation you are confronted with at that particular point in time.
All right.
We also empower children and young people to find solutions to some of the challenges they are facing.
All right, Sister Dumisile, let's leave it at that for now, but thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was Dumisile Nala, CEO at Childline South Africa, talking to us about Child Protection Week as it draws to a close. And that Childline number again is 0800 555 555.